All right, we are live. AOAO. Welcome back. Welcome back. What's up? What's up? All right, we are back here with your Everyday Rich podcast with your host Jason and
Jen.
And today we have a wonderful guest, someone that we have met over the last few years and really have.
Years. 1 year.
Oh, 1 year. Yeah, 1 year. It feels like a few years. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
just 1 year.
But it feels longer just because
Exactly.
I think how this person has really connected with us and been able to show kind of like true qualities of someone that is willing to help people, and that's something that we at Deep at Heart want to ultimately do as well. So, but before I get into it, there's 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and mortgage rule changes. At least our next guest knows a thing or two around the last one. Kevin Huynh is the founder and owner of Empire Mortgage Group. His award-winning mortgage team has helped hundreds of homebuyers and real estate investors obtain the right mortgage product to achieve their goals. He's also a husband, father of 2 girls, and a scratch golfer, but only on days that start with F. And he's made some pretty cool investments over the few years, and you're going to want to hear about that. So, without further ado, welcome our friend, Kevin Huynh.
Thanks. Did you Google that? Or you type in?
I chat GBT'd that. So I put a few things in chat GBT, and I basically said, hey, spit me out some copyright.
It's funny because I tried to chat GBT my name the other day, and it just came up like this person is pretty much irrelevant in life. But so hopefully after this podcast, I'll get there. But thanks for having me, guys. Super excited. Love what you guys are doing. J and JT, your Everyday Rich. Love the name. I love the concept. Let's go.
All right. Ayo. Okay. All right, Kevin. So we know you. There's a lot of obviously people in our investing circle that have gotten to know you really well. For other people, can you give us the lowdown of Kevin H? Like, what's the 401? What's the deets on Kevin, and kind of your story before we gotta get into the story?
Yeah. Father of 2, avid golfer, love to travel. I genuinely love meeting new people and showing genuine curiosity. How to Win Friends and Influence People, one of my favorite books of all time.
Oh, you mean this one right here?
That Dale Carnegie? Beautiful, man. That's
all right. Shout out to Dale Carnegie. We are gonna do a giveaway on when we release this. So
it's absolutely phenomenal book. I read it probably 3 times a year minimum, and every time I read it, depending on what stage of my life I am in, I pick up something new from his strategies, right? So, but yeah, no, to me, love meeting new people, love traveling. Like traveling brings so much joy to mine and my family's lives. It brings different cultures in their life. It puts life into perspective. I try to take aspects of the world and bring it here. 99% of the time, it does not work. But I try, and I think that it just gives me a sense of imagination and creativity that it is. I think it's super underrated. I don't know. I could go travel more, but actually indulge. Sorry, overrated, underrated.
Doesn't matter. I know exactly what you meant.
We should do it more. So
yeah, exactly. That's right.
People don't think traveling is rated high enough. I guess, right? Yeah. So, but yeah. So I feel like whenever that happens, guys, like it's like if you just dive and immerse yourself, like don't go to like to Cuba, just stay on the resort, right? Like obviously be safe, be mindful, but like indulge in the local cuisines, the local beaches, the local cultures and festivals. Like, I feel like that just brings a sense of imagination, lets your mind wander to places that you don't even know existed. But yeah, so man, that's
you feel that. Yeah. Do you feel that travel like that in terms of how you approach travel and being open to different types of cultures and seeing things has changed your views on how you kind of live life?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Perspective's a big word. I think when you travel, I've been east, been west, been central world, and when you travel these places, you do realize how fortunate we are here in Canada as one of the top places in the world to live. I met I was talking to the concierge at our at our hotel in Thailand. She's like, "Oh, you're from Canada." I'm like, I've been saving my whole life to visit Canada. And I'm like, "Oh, really?" She's like, "Oh, she's probably late 20s." I'm like, "Oh yeah, like what attracts you? Like, why do you want to? Oh, it's one of the best places in the world to live. Everything's so beautiful. I want to see the snow and huh, like just stuff that becomes mundane to us and just routine. It's like our streets are clean. It's kind of we take that for granted, right? Our health system, the ability to eat whatever cuisine we want right now with our cell phone, just order off Uber Eats, right? So it's like you see people living like their living conditions, food they have access to, education, healthcare they have access to. It just you want to help them as much as possible, like wherever it can be. So one of our agents, Lewis, on my team actually, he's actually in Indonesia right now, and this is his second time there, but his family is from like Bali, right? So and what he did was he went to the local orphanage there. There's like about 800 kids there, and they need food. They need food. So I'm like, yo, man, just whatever you want. Go to the local supermarket, buy all the rice, whatever it is. But like, hey, how much for a bag of rice? $5 US. 100 bags. Yeah, we have 22 bags. I'll get them all. Ended up buying about $1,000 worth of food to feed 800 kids.
Wow.
And you're like, oh man, $1,000. Like, you know what I mean? Like $1,000 is an expensive dinner. $1,000 is like whatever it is, right? And you're like that allowed us to feed 800 children. Like it's actually pretty fascinating. So so
it's amazing.
You said something about immersing yourself in culture. Like one of the things actually Jason and I used to do before we had kids, like we did a Europe trip, maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago. Half the time we just sat there sitting at coffee shops and people watching. We love,
I love it.
to people watch. It's kind of hard with kids now. We can't do it because the kids just can't sit down. Back in the day, we used to just people watch. We just sit there and spend an hour with the coffee, with the drink, or whatever it is, just people watch.
But it gives you perspective because you can see about like where everyone's head's at, right? Where this is obviously before COVID and everything. Everyone was always in a rush to get somewhere, and depending on what country you're in, it's even more emphasized. Like if you go to like Japan, Asia, or something like that, everyone's like going. Europe's a bit more relaxed and stuff, but it really does open your eyes about like how much we are so lucky to live and where we are. And we have very little perspective outside of like our neighborhood and our own country, where we take for granted about these things where, you know what, Kevin, what do you want to eat tonight? I don't know, whatever, right? Like whatever. You can't decide what to eat is a problem for us, but every day people can't eat, that is a bigger problem, not even knowing what to eat. So, the fact that you are seeing it differently, kind of brings me to one of my questions I actually wanted to ask. And I always ask every guest, like, during your childhood, when you grew up, what was your relationship with money? Because obviously it sounds like, the relationship with money has changed over time. The fact that you've done this, but like, what was your relationship with money back in the day?
That's a good question because, like even with children now, I want to give them the world like you guys do, but I also want them to have the appreciation for the dollar. I really don't know how to do it or what the right answer is, but I feel like working from a young age and earning your keep is very key. Is one aspect of that. Like my mom and dad came over from Vietnam during the Vietnam War, right? So, and we didn't have much. Like all of our friends played hockey, and our parents couldn't afford to put us in hockey or actually any organized sports until it was free in school. So my first organized sports team was grade 6 baseball through our school because it was free, right? So seeing how hard they work, and then still they try to say yes, like most of the time because they want to give us the world. And it's like for us, every single like thing that we we wanted growing up, we had to earn. So it was like, okay, you had to mow the lawn or do dishes, get $10 here, $10 there. And if you want a Sega Genesis, you need $100, you had to do it 10 times, and then you can eventually buy it, right? So so growing up in that environment, Jason, it's like, it does keep me grounded now, where like we're fortunate to be able to just go to the store and buy an Xbox now, or PS5 now, whatever it is, at any point. But it's just still like, just keeps grounded, where it's like, hey, like, if you don't keep grinding, there are immigrants out there that'll take your money. So So like, my dad's always said that. He's like, I work so hard, and his mentality is to keep on working, and he's like, I don't want to stop working. Why would I stop working? That's what you do. You keep working. Because he's like, if I let my foot off the gas pedal, there's another immigrant out there that's going to take my job, right? So it's a super interesting mindset. But it's also a mindset that I've kind of evolved from, knowing that like life is short. And I'm like, Dad, if you want to travel, you want to buy this car, whatever that is, do it, right? You know what I mean? Dad, do it. Enjoy life. Like, we've seen so many times over and over again, people save up for retirement, have this elaborate trip to travel the world. Once they get there and they're sick, or they're unable to move, or they just can't do it, right? So I'm like, if you want to do something in life within reason and within your means, do it, right? So Dad, like, if your plan is to leave that money to us, we don't want it. You know what I mean? Like, I want you to spend it, but their mentality is like, they are proud to pay off their mortgage and have this like necessary to give to their children and grandchildren. Like, that's what gives them joy.
Yeah.
So it bothers me, because I'm like, Dad, like, like, you're healthy right now and you're able to travel. Why don't you? Right. So it's so just going back to the concept of money, and my relationship with money growing up, Jason, is we had to earn every dollar. We really had to make ends meet. And I grew up in a very blue collar part of Hamilton. There was 2 Asian kids in my school, myself and a good friend of mine, actually. And growing up, we heard every single racial slur there was. And on top of that, we couldn't afford certain things that the other kids can afford, right? Brand name. We had 2 striped track pants. And I'm like, what's wrong with 2 stripes?
Not the 3 stripes.
Oh, dude, dude, I had the 2 stripes too, man. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I had the Exco Stitches jeans, not the Echo.
Oh yeah, Stitches. Oh my goodness,
and
Stitches.
I had no idea what the difference was. I'm like, it's just, what do you mean?
It was Echo without the H.
So like so like, it's just like, okay, we made fun of because we were different at different time, and then also we couldn't afford materialistic things to kind of fit in. So, but what that did was to kind of like, it actually strengthened my backbone quite a bit right now, and then like later on in life, it gave me the grit to kind of to just attack everything with everything I got, because like, I really had nothing to lose, right? So but I still thank my parents every single day. Like, every dollar that I make here now, it feels like winning the lottery. I did win the lottery from them giving up everything to come here, right? So and I thank them every day. And it's funny, when you have kids, you just love your parents that much more. It's
so true.
Unique. It's a unique mindset shift, where I'm like, Mom, there's no chance I did this. Like, there's no chance I just cried all night. And she's like, no, you were terrible. She's like, we had the radio on static, just as a white noise machine back in the day. And then like, when you're up, you just turn it to like a radio station, and we didn't have like the Nano cameras and the white noise machine and stuff like that, right? It's a different time. We had literally, it was like 14 of us in my dad's like 900 square foot home at one point, and it was just normal, right? So, but yeah, like, I think the upbringing, and so I think like the more values and upbringing that you instill in them now as young kids will carry through life for them. So I think it's so important. I heard a quote the other day: presence over presence. Being present over presents. It was actually really neat.
Who'd you hear that from?
I can't remember who it was, and I actually loved it. It was on a podcast, and I love the fact that, like, so I have two girls. So Charlotte, my first one, I read a book, Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters, and one of the topics was like just being present no matter what. Even you're just because you're in the room, even though you're not interacting with them, the fact that you're in the room and they know that you're there means so much to them beyond measure, right? So it was pretty cool. So like, building a business is hard. Like, life is hard, and there's another. I love quotes, by the way. So I love quotes and stories and jokes, right? So, and another quote was like, "There are no shortcuts to any place worth going," and so to me, like, there is no shortcuts to building a successful business, to raising like a great family and stuff like that, right? So you have to put the work in, and like work smart, not work hard. I also think that's kind of incorrect. I think you have to do both. So in kind of in my mind, Jason and Jenn, is just being there for them, and just like just being around. It just does so much for their mental state.
Kev, like, were there any scripts, like we talk about money scripts before, where it's like, these sayings that kind of almost limit us in our thinking of using money as a tool or making money? Like, were there any of these influences back in the day that you remember that influenced
like
you?
Like, it wasn't too much when it comes to money. Like I think with our upbringing, getting A stands for average. And remember that no one knew. It was just like
B plus means a beating.
Yeah. What is this letter? I don't know what this letter is here. I know this letter existed, right? So, but like, so it was more like, it was just expectation in that sense of like, just like, you have to make the family proud, right? So, but when it comes to like money scripts, it was just like, like, we didn't have too much money, so like we were very careful what we spent money on, right? So, but like we realized that like like money can bring you just like instant gratification for a short period of time, right? And it's still, I still think it's true now. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'll get a new car and wash it every single day for like a month, and then don't wash it for like 6 months. You just don't care about it. But so when it comes to money scripts and stuff like that, Jason, like for us, it was just like, hey, like if you want something in life, just go work for it. Just go get it, and then when you do, think about what you're spending it on, because you worked hard for it, right? So it's definitely really interesting. Like the Atomic Habits, also a great book. I think you have it there too as well.
Right there. Shout out Atomic Habits, James Clear.
Atomic Habits is an amazing read. Like, every time I read that book, I just implement things into my life that's incredible. And one of the things was like, if you're about to spend, if you're about to buy something that's over $100, wait 24 hours. And because the impulse in you wants to buy right away, because they'll give you instant gratification. So what I do is, so I used to be a big sucker for just Facebook, Instagram ads. Like, oh, that's kind of cool. Thing that cleans my ears. That's kind of neat. I'll buy it, right? So when I read Atomic Habits, what I do is I'll take a screenshot and I'll put it in a folder called products and services, and I'll wait 24 hours before I buy it. Right. And now, I just looked at the other day, there's 290 items, the products and services in that folder that I did not buy. Wow. It was really interesting. Yeah. So, and I'm
that's
sure,
like me and my Amazon cart. You should see how much stuff is in my Amazon cart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I always save for later, all the time.
So we share an Amazon account, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, one Amazon Prime account. Like, why would I buy two? But I look and I'm like, hey, I need to actually get something. And I'm like, what are all these things in here? Hey, do you need to buy this? Like, can I save or delete? She's like, save for later.
Yeah, but I do the same thing though, because I see something like, and Amazon's like the worst, right? Amazon, like they're so good at advertising stuff. So I always see interesting things. I always put in my cart and I always save for later, because I do the exact same thing. I see if I still want it like a week later or 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Shout out Amazon, AMZN stock ticker. You know, if, you know, we started this whole podcast calling it Your Everyday Rich, right? The whole point was figuring out like, well, what are people doing to build that for themselves and their families? For you, Kev, like, you know, what's your everyday rich to you? And
that's a big question. Big question. Like, you hear cliche words like, financial independence, freedom, stuff like that, right? So, but just providing for my family is of utmost importance, right? To me, building a business and a brand that my parents and my family are proud of, right? So I think that's very important. I think that's just being like not only the eldest child, but like the first son in an Asian family as well, right? Remember, like coming out of high school, it was all business for me. It was like commerce, economics, and then my mom and dad was like disappointed because like, well, that route, so you're not going to be a doctor. Well, not in that route.
Yeah.
So I had to apply for kinesiology at Mac, and I got accepted, but I told them I didn't. Yeah. So it was, but I felt so bad. It was so bad. It was always the first time ever I lied to them.
You're okay.
It's
all right. They'll forgive you.
But no. So it was just all this with me, and because and then I you just want to make them proud, right? At the end of the day, like it's I think that's such an important thing. Like my uncle and my cousin from Vietnam, like my dad's only sibling left in Vietnam, are here currently to visit them. First time ever they've been in Canada.
Wow.
Right. And my dad is so proud. He just wants to bring them to my house, bring them to my office, show them our vehicles. Like this is my son. This is what Kevin's doing, some of that. And then, but yeah, like even with my one cousin Jen, like she's a doctor, and like so, bring Jen down. Jen's a doctor now, and her parents are proud. It's just showing off, right? Like your parents want to show you off, and
but there must have been a change though, right? Because you said they wanted you to become a doctor, and then like there must have been a flip or a switch.
Absolutely, Jen, and I think it's when like it's when it switched when like I started helping them with their finances and educating them on their finances, right? Because their old school mentality is just to stash cash under the mattress, right?
Yep.
Just empowering them with the power of leverage and compounding interest was huge. And as they see that their money is making money while they're sleeping, and quite frankly, making more money while they're sleeping than when they're working, which is very powerful. And then we start building this team, and then we start getting featured in the paper and winning awards. And like I'll take them out to our award shows, and they're in an environment that they've never been in before, or one of my keynotes, presentations, stuff like that, and they see me on like a bigger stage, and little Kevin's on the big stage now, and they're proud, right? So they're like, okay, well, I guess he's not a doctor, but I think he did all right, So
business ain't that bad.
Yeah. So just building this win empire, to be able to provide for them, but to be able to let them do whatever they want in life and just kind of follow their dreams and passions, right?
Yeah, I can really resonate with that, because I feel the same way. Like at the end of the day, we kind of want to show our kids like experiences. Like same with us, we love to travel. We traveled before our kids, and now with the kids, we still want to travel. And our kids love to travel. They're like, oh, it's another sleepover. We get to go sleep over 7 days in a hotel. Like they get so excited just to do that, and just to be in different places and to go to different places. Like they love it.
Yeah, I think it's a big mindset shift too, because I've talked to a few friends and just a few colleagues too. It's just like, oh yeah, we're going on vacation. It's like, and where are you going? Oh, Disneyland. It's like, oh, Disney is not a vacation for you, right? You are going to need a vacation after Disney, and it's like, there's some truth to that, right? And we kind of laugh. You always have to have a joke about it, but when you always look at that negative side of things, where it's like, no, man, you know what? Part of the experience is lining your ass up in that line that snakes around the corner and waiting 40 minutes to get food, and having a kid meltdown or whatever, try to find a washroom. Like, that's part of the experience. And those are the things, like, I don't remember a lot of the things when we went to Disney with my parents. I'm lucky enough to go to Disney, right? I remember some of the little things about the funny problems, the problems we had there. But it turns out to be, it was like, what was okay, I'll give you an example. We didn't have money to stay on Disney, right? It just wasn't the case, right? We stayed at Ramada Inn. So you drive 25 minutes away, and you live in the middle of nowhere, but that's where the accommodations that we could afford. But I remember, so my parents, what we used to do, like, we used to pack instant noodle packs in our suitcases. And back in the day, my parents didn't like using the kettles for whatever reason. Like, they didn't have kettles in hotels or inns. But what we did was, my parents bought this like heating element thing. It was like a heating element, and you could warm up water in a cup.
Oh,
so you put this thing, plug it in, and it warms up the water.
So they brought it in their suitcase.
And we literally have ramen packages at night after to, like, have a snack, because that's how it was. We're not going to pay room service. Like, it was ridiculous. And plus, I'm not eating a sandwich.
There's no room service in Ramada.
Listen, I didn't know that, right? But that I remember that.
So your parents invented sous vide?
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
But you know what? They made it work because they wanted to show you. They show you the experience. And a lot of parents complain about Disney World. Oh my God, it's crazy, the lineups. But what trumps it is the faces and the reaction that you get from the kids when they see Mickey Mouse, when they see the big castle, when they see their favorite princess or whatever it is that they get super excited about, right? That like trumps it all.
Exactly.
I still agree with that, Jenny. Like, so I took Charlotte. I feel like I took Charlotte. She was 3, right? So I'm like, all her friends like, don't take them till they're a little bit older. I'm like, don't take them. She's 3. She might not remember it, but like, it was selfishly more for Jess and I than anything.
Yeah.
I also love Disney. So we go in there, and as soon as we walk into the gates, and Charlotte, Mommy, Daddy, look, the castle. It's where the princess lives. And her just showing pure excitement and joy, like that memory, that core memory, it's just kind of like will always be in our minds every time we think about our family and Disney and her first experience with it, right? So it's incredible. But going back to the funny story about my parents is they told my sister and I that they took us to Disney, but they don't have any pictures because they spent all the money on the trip. They couldn't afford cameras. And I'm like, Dad, that is the biggest load of crap in the world. The wind-up camera is like $2, right? So he's like, no, maybe there are pictures. Let me find them for you. And I'm like, Dad. So every time, Dad, you still looking for those Disney pictures? Or what?
Disney's with Niagara Falls.
The backdrop.
Look.
Local pictures with the backdrops.
Yeah. It's so funny. I picked up on you were mentioning like you went to Mac, and I think you grew up in Hamilton, right?
Correct. Yeah,
grew up in Hamilton, born and bred in Hamilton, and went into commerce, and didn't go through that. I think that expected path that all our Asian parents, for some reason, think that's the way to do. They're a lawyer, doctor, dentist, whatever, and you name it.
Accountant.
Like,
I forget that one.
Well, I mean, make a lot of money in tax season right now. So, was it always natural for you, Kevin, in terms of going into this entrepreneurial side of things? Like, did you work a 9 to 5 out of school before that?
Yeah, take us through like from when you graduated to like where you are now with like Empire Mortgages.
Yeah.
No, it's I've always had a passion for like real estate. I always look at houses. I actually wanted to be an architect because I love designing houses and stuff like that, right? So, but yeah, like in high school, I worked at Pizza Hut, and because we're such short staffed at Pizza Hut, I took a managerial role there like quite early on. So I was really in charge of like opening, closing, training the team, training like any new products that came in, just kind of really overlooking the whole operations there. So I really enjoyed that responsibility. It gave me a sense of like pride and ownership, even though the store wasn't mine, right? So and it just ran efficiently, and we won a lot of awards, and we exceeded kind of targets, and just gave me a sense of joy in that sense. But yeah, I've always had a passion for real estate, and then naturally with business, I was like, okay, like what I mean, go through business, yeah, accounting, you go get your business degree, and then trying to find like a 9 to 5 job somewhere. Or like financial planners, right? It was a big thing for me coming out of school. It's just a wealth manager as well. So, but like, yeah, I've always had a passion for real estate. So I'm like, mortgages was just a perfect marriage between real estate and kind of financing, right? So, and a lot of my colleagues in school, they all became wealth managers. So naturally, I got the referrals kind of right off the bat too. It was kind of neat. It's a bit of a stepping stone for the first couple of years at least. But yeah, so I came out of school. Yeah, so I took actually econ, not commerce at Mac. So I took econ, and then I took a financial planning course at Mohawk. So I just spent a lot of time in school, and it was like the running joke of all like my friends and their parents. Like, oh, Kevin, how many years of school are you gonna be in? You could have been a doctor by now. Yeah. But so I came out of school, and yeah, I was offered 3 jobs, CIBC, Scotiabank, and TD at the time, making $40,000 to $45,000 a year, and that was good money. This was 2010, right? So, 13 years ago. So, and I went into the branch. I remember I had an interview in the branch, and I look around. Everyone's just so disgruntled and don't really talk to each other, and everyone's kind of miserable. And I reach out to my one friend who was a financial advisor at Scotia, and he's like, "Yeah, it's good, man, but this is just kind of like my kind of entry level position for bigger things, right?" So, and you hear the term golden handcuffs of the bank. It's a real thing. Like you put enough time into the bank institution, they kind of trap you with their pension and your stock options and stuff like that, right? So, I never wanted to be limited by any of that, and I just never want to put a ceiling onto what I wanted to do. I was a very ambitious individual. I used to think of the craziest ideas in high school, like a t-shirt company, logo brands. Like we're trying to invent things that already existed. We try to reinvent the wheel, like so we. So I always had that entrepreneurial mindset, and like I helped brand the school store when they had it there. So for
was
me,
it like did you have that back and forth between your friends, or did you find kind of more like enterprising mindset was kind of just from you? Like
yeah, no, it was a group of friends of mine. So my good friend Lee and Adam. Adam is my best man. Still my best friend until this day. And really like we always kind of push each other. Hey man, like I'd be sweet to start this clothing brand to kind of rival FUBU and stuff like that, right? So yeah, but it's like instead of for us by us, it's like for you by us. It's just something like like just change altogether, right? And, and even the other day, I was at my hair salon, just not to go off topic. I was at the hair salon, and I'm like, hey, like. And I'm talking to Monica, my hairstylist, and I'm like, Monica, where's all like the male hair product lines? You know what I mean? Like when we were growing up, it's Dippity Doo, Got to Be, all that gel stuff.
Oh
like,
man, Dippity Doo! Oh my goodness, Ultra Holds level 13.
Yeah, level 13. Yeah, you're the max, and also but stuff, right? It's flaky. But I'm like, Mom, like, what if I build a brand called like Lifestyle? It's like lifestyle, like styling your hair, and like, because I use this like grapeseed wax, like that gets imported in, right? So, and it's all natural, and I'm like, why don't I just make something like this and just like put it on your shelf? So like that entrepreneurial mindset has always been there for me, and so naturally, I'm like, you know what, I want to give more a go. I was living at home with my dad, wearing his suits, driving his car, so it was kind of a fake it until you make it kind of idea. And yeah, my first year, I think I closed like 4 deals. I made like 10, 12. I think I made 12,000 in my first year. And I'm like, what am I doing? What did I do?
Did you quit your 9 to 5 to do that, or were you doing this part time?
No, so I was doing part time. So by now, I moved on from Pizza Hut to Future Shop, and Future Shop was a fun role, like an Asian kid in a store of electronics. It's just kind of perfect, right? So it was fun. It was so I was still doing that part time because $12,000 a year, like it's like you live at home, you don't have any bills, but still, like it's it's not that much money, right? So, and then I'm like, so I went back to get like my CFP, my LLQP, which is like financial planning and like life insurance license back. I'm like, maybe I should revisit the bank and take that $45,000 to a job. And I met this one individual, his name was Walter Fernetti. I still remember him. He was like a performance business coach at the time, long since retired. But he's like a Robert De Niro looking fella. And I remember meeting him in Burlington, and on the recommendation from my broker of record at the time. And I go in there, and I was a very arrogant, cocky kid, right? So I go in, I'm like, hey Walter, before we get started, I don't want to waste your time, and like my time's valuable, but like there's nothing that you can tell me that I don't know already. So yeah, just I don't know if we can just end this really quickly. We can both get on with our day. And he just gave me like this 1,000-yard stare, like Robert De Niro. Like imagine this, right? Yeah. Hey Kev, you know everything there is to know already. Then why aren't you successful? What are you talking about? I'm successful. You don't know me. Like, so he's like, I do know you, and I know how much you make, and like I know how much you can make. So why aren't you successful? And this ended up being like a 3-hour coffee of like what I've gone through, what I need to do. And he's like, you gotta quit your day job, Kev. You gotta give it your all. Give your all for he said 6 months, but like ideally 1 year. Give your all for 1 year. What's the absolute worst case scenario? You make $12,000 and you go back to the bank, whatever it is, right? I still live at home, right? So I really had no obligation at the time. So yeah, I gave my all, and in the second year, I made $40,000 my second year. Like okay, like so it's kind of even out, but it's my own thing, my own schedule. I have the freedom to work whenever I want, whenever I need to, and then I just kept doing this thing. Like the hardest part about entrepreneurship is that still doing the things that got you busy when you are busy. So I think I've tried to really instill that into all of our agents on our team is that, guys, time block is so important. And when you time block to do things, to do those lead gen, the marketing, all the videos, the mails, whatever that is, that you did networking events in order for you to get busy, don't forget to do those things when you are busy, because that pipeline will dry up, right? So kept doing those things, and then turn the corner year 3, and we've grown every single year since then, 13 years in. And it was like kind of like an aha moment in my life, and like like Walter and I only talked a few times, and I wish we kept in contact more over the years. There's a lot of mentors in my life that I think I still try to reach out to, but don't know where they are, what they're doing, and stuff like that, or they've moved and whatnot. And I wish I kind of kept in touch with those mentors a little bit more. I was just so busy, like in the trenches and grinding, and just like, you know what I mean? Like every single minute of the day is valuable. So just reaching out to mentors for a coffee, just to catch up, wasn't really on my list of to-do things, right? So I'd rather meet 20 realtors and then try to get their business, whatever it is, right? So, but yeah, so then I turned the corner, worked with a lot of awesome brokers. So in order to run a mortgage brokerage, there's a broker of record, right? So, so worked for a lot of broker of records over the years. One of them actually won the Canadian Mortgage Awards Mortgage Broker of the Year. So I learned a lot from him as well, and it really took everything that they did really well, but also took everything that they didn't do too well. And then I'm like, I can create something that's like so dynamic, that's so different. And I want to present that to the world, because there is a lack of transparency when it comes to the mortgage brokerage world as well, right? So in real estate, if the commission is 1%, 2%, 3%, whatever that is, it's pretty black and white. But in the mortgage industry, there's a lot of like volume bonuses and efficiency bonuses and stuff like that. Quite frankly, a lot of brokers don't tell their agents about, right? So And the reason why I moved on my own is because that reason as well, right? It's because I realized there is more money to be made doing the same volume that I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, it is a lot more work. So like, to be a mortgage agent in Canada, you have to be under an umbrella. So like, just like a realtor, you have to be under a RE/MAX, Royal Page.
Mhm.
The popular ones are Dominion Lending, the Mortgage Group, Mortgage Center, Mortgage Alliance, right? So, but we're independent, so we're actually an umbrella. So, we're I run my own shop. I don't have to answer anybody. I can implement any marketing plan right now. I'm in tech right now, which I love. That comes with more compliance, more back end work, and all the technical and logistics side of things. But yeah, we've always grown organically, Jen and Jason. Like we get inquiries to join our brokerage quite often. Probably get 5 or 6 a week.
Yep.
Right.
Oh,
So
wow.
now, so we're fortunate to win new brokerage of the year last year for all of Canada. And then right now it just got announced yesterday that we are finalists for regional, which is all of Ontario mortgage brokerage of the year, which is
Congrats.
big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big. But like, but I think I'm more proud that we got actually we're finalists for community service brokerage of the year. So giving back to the community, I like that. That means so much more to me than any, uh, 40 under 40, like any of those awards, any personal awards, because like it shows that our commitment to our community, it's like it is not going on unnoticed. Like the people realize like the amount of work it takes to give back to the community, and now that we've been recognized for that, it's thoroughly a team effort, a community effort, right? So so we could have grown, like, man, we could easily grow to 55, 60 agents, and I sit back and just collect fees and whatnot. But like that's not the type of brokerage that I want to run or create. I want everyone in the brokerage to be successful. We don't have turnover. Like we don't have brokers leaving us for other brokerages. We have like the best splits, the best mentorship and coaching, and like the best working environment. Like there's nothing better out there once you kind of see what we have to offer. Right?
I love that approach because it's the whole we all win when we all get to eat, right? Versus no one wins unless I eat first.
Yep.
And that kind of mantra in life, in business, and everything. If you approach that saying like, you know what, how do I help my team eat before I eat? That's gonna make me super successful, happy, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think that goes to show like in terms of success you've had in the industry, and it's well known, right, in the investor community. And the fact that I think if you kind of go through your webpage and hearing you talk about your business and things like that, it's you're first and foremost there to help someone build their empire, right, through real estate. Just to be clear for everyone listening, like Kevin is a mortgage broker, if you haven't got that, in terms of providing not just getting you a mortgage, but like figuring out, okay, how do we structure the right package for you, whether it's an investment property, maybe it's your first home, maybe it's I don't know, whatever, right? But there are so many options out there that having someone that's gone through the trenches of 13 years and the freedom of kind of what you said, do whatever you want, gives you ultimate flexibility. You have, hey, can we do it this way instead, or can we try something else? You're like, sure, let's give it a shot. And that's what I want our listeners to be able to hear about, is that it's not just, you don't have to just go to the bank, right? If you have a relationship with the bank, sure, go ahead. And every mortgage broker will tell you that. But why not speak to someone like Kevin or anyone else in the industry to help you build that for you?
Yeah, to build your everyday rich, right?
To build your everyday rich,
because a lot of banks sometimes are sad, but they're trying to make money, right? That's their primary goal versus 100%. Working with someone who is not just trying to make you money, but what does that money do for you? It's always peeling one more layer of the onion, right? We're always trying to get to a life that we want to live, right? It's not just about making this dollar value. It's always like, I always take it one step further when it comes to your intention, right?
Yeah.
Doing business.
And like realistically, you going to Kevin or whoever, you will end up helping him as well. Like, let's be real, like you're running a business, you're there to make money, right? But ultimately, if you don't help someone achieve their goals, you're not going to be able to do that.
So I love asking entrepreneurs. I know Empire is like a really successful business. Every entrepreneur, I find, also has a few other businesses that maybe didn't work out, or they've kind of let go.
A couple.
Right? It's true though. Every entrepreneur I meet, they have like, oh, I ran 5 different businesses. Like, So what are some of the other things that you've done?
Like I've always wanted like kind of 7 avenues of income. That's kind of like the number. I love the number 7. It's a very lucky
so
number growing up.
It's not 8.
Not lucky 8.
Sport. That's my dad's, obviously, but he goes, "Oh, you're almost there with 7."
Yeah.
It's a joke, right? But yeah, like every sports team growing up was always number 7. But yeah, for me, yeah, a lot of experiences, and I think you do learn the most from your failures and the ones in the business partnerships, the businesses that kind of fail. This was got to be 2013, 2014. At that point, I'm like, I should diversify my time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket when it comes to mortgages. So I'll diversify my time. And I've always loved the food and drink industry. I still do a lot. So myself and a couple of friends of mine, we opened Serve, which is a ping pong bar in Hamilton, right? It's just kind of a spinoff from Spin in Toronto. So we opened up Serve and we crushed it right off the bat. Like, I don't know what the actual stat is, but 70% of restaurants don't make it past year 2. Like, out of those 30%, you don't see profits until year 5, whatever that is. We were making 6 figures our first year.
Wow.
Serve. It was the place to be in Hamilton. There's nothing else to do. It was a great date spot. 10,000 square feet. We had big events there. It was awesome. It was a fun time to walk into a bar and just grab a bottle off the shelf and just pour your friends' drinks. It was a great time. So at that point, I thought that everything I touched turns into gold.
Yeah.
Like, I am on cloud nine, right? So then a good friend of mine, Derek, and I partner up and open up a wine bar around the corner, right? So I knew nothing about wine. So I watched Somm on Netflix and talked to a bunch of wine people and stuff like that. And realized that, like, you know, the Hamilton market's not ripe for high-end wines yet. So that tanked. Early on. It was beautiful space, like gold and marble and stuff like that, but it just didn't work out well. I'm like, what happened? We're like, are we before our time, or didn't we get the right operators? So we realized, like, getting a trustworthy operator is so important when it comes to, like, open up business and whatnot, right? So then I opened a cafe. I also felt, okay, guys, Cap, like, you spend so much time on these businesses that are failing. But, like, what's making the most money is mortgages. So let's go back to that and kind of grow this thing out, right? But grow the mortgages out, it leads to be able to do private lending now. So we have an internal Empire fund that we use for bridge loans, for quick flips and whatnot, right? So it's also an emergency kind of line. So if for some reason a deal goes sideways for one of our agents, we can just step in and close it at the rate that we promised them, right? So it's kind of nice. It's a bit of a peace of mind kind of emergency blanket. So with private lending, and then we started, so then I got into, like, you know, rental properties. Like, we did a lot of pre-cons. We bought pre-con condos, flipped those when the market's hot. We bought, like, what I made a lot of money on was buying single family homes and converting them to duplex and triplexes.
What time frame was this, Kevin? Just for context.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So we sold Serve in, like, 2017, and then after that, that's when I started buying the pre-cons. That's a great year to start buying pre-cons, and they're 3 years, right? So they all came out around 2019, 2020, right? That time period, and then so 2018, 2019, I started doing single family flips. So just, like, you know, buy them, cosmetic changes, flip them, making $50,000-$60,000. And I think that's the one thing that I've really had a mindset of, like, I don't have to hit home runs. I think a lot of people I want to make 6 figures on a flip in 3 months. I'm like, what's wrong with making $50,000 in 3 months? Do it 4 times, make it 200,000. You know what I mean?
That's amazing income right there.
Yeah. Just Billy Bean baseball, right? Just base hits, right? So then from that, then, like, okay, like how can I, like, and then we had a bit of a shift in, I think it was when was it, 2018, 2019, there's a bit of a shift in the market, a little bit of a stagnant time, about 3 months stagnant time, where I'm like, okay, how do I, like, force appreciate a building and not let the market dictate like all my investment properties. So by creating additional units, I was forced appreciating these properties that I bought, right? So right now, like, and like I have a couple still with a couple partners, but like I've always partnered up with I've always been the finance capital side, side of the business, and I was partnered up with someone on the ground, hands-on contractor, property manager. That's kind of always worked out really well for me.
Do you like that better, the passive side of things?
I do.
Yeah.
I do, Jason, because it just allows me to have more time to focus on everything else, right? So yeah, I'm like, like I trust you, and I want to let you do your thing, right? But you mess it up, it's over, right? So
I think. Sorry, go.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like that's a really good point, because I feel like when people get into real estate investing, it's like you have to be the active investor, right? There's nothing wrong with being a passive investor. Like it's just as good. Like it allows you to spend more time doing the things you want to spend time on.
If you define like what your everyday rich, if it's like, okay, I want more time. Like we go back to the very beginning of this, of like presence, right? Being somewhere, whether it's with your kids, playing golf or whatever, right? It's literally if you just put money into an investment and you sit back and you collect checks. That's the ultimate definition of an investment, right? Passive investment, and one of the 7 that towards your income streams. So I think a lot of it, people should not just approach it saying, I have to be an active partner, I have to be like the one that's doing all the work. Don't get me wrong, there's benefits of doing both, but really just ask yourself, define what kind of style of investor you want to be, and it allows you to live that lifestyle. So no, it's a great point.
Yeah, just be upfront early on, right, Jason? Like, I got this is the expectation. I want weekly meeting. I want weekly updates on this time. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not a contractor. I'm not going to tell you how to do trim or drywall. I trust you. You're the expert. You trust me as the expert on the finance side of things. We have defined roles. Defined roles in a partnership is so crucial and important. During the honeymoon stage, we call it. The honeymoon stage is like everyone's getting along. Buddy, when something goes wrong, right? So establishing that in writing, even, I think it's very important, right? So so I think so that's why all of my partnerships have been kind of that alignment. And then so we have a couple of those now, and we're kind of shifting our focus to land development recently, which is oh man, it's been a ride. So at least like a developer, like the glitz and glamour of a developer is just like, to me, like there's so much work involved. There's like we have one parcel of land they're working on where we need 13 different tests to just get to pre-consultation with the city, right? And I'm like, it's been a grind. It's been almost a year of just testing and money upfront capital. Upfront, it's been for a pre-consultation, which is way 2 years before.
Way before.
So and if there's you have your birds and bats, it's that there's certain trees where you can't take down in certain seasons. If there's a single animal bone on your parcel of land, you have to go to secondary testing. Salamanders, you can't disturb the habitat.
Or like old little like archaeological like forks and like old like things like that. Like they find anything that's like historical. It's like nope.
Oh man.
Another more tests.
So going through that process where it's like it's refreshing because it feels new again. It feels like, you know what I mean? Like I've been doing mortgage for so long that just I feel like I know ins and outs of the mortgage industry, but going to go to land development where it's still kind of the same industry, but it's just so different, which is very, very, very refreshing to say. And then and then just from that, it's like I love traveling, so naturally like foreign investment is always on my radar. You know what I mean? Like investing in kind of lots in Belize and then also Airbnbs in Costa Rica. We're looking at Elkinville. We're looking at Florida right now. I want to buy something in Florida this year. The ROI in like Florida is absolutely phenomenal, and like just the lifestyle is nice, right? Like to me, it's all about lifestyle. It's like, well, I talked to my one friend the other day where I'm like, He's like, when's your next vacation? And I'm like, I don't actually like the term vacation, right? Because I think it's created by people who don't enjoy their lives here, and don't enjoy their work here, and they need a vacation from it. And then once the vacation's done, they come back to this miserable life again, right? So, so for me, it's a lifestyle. I'm like, guys, like when I go away, I'm still over my laptop, I'm still working, I'm still sending emails, I'm still doing team meetings, but surrounded by sunshine and palm trees in February. So it's like, it's to do more and more of that, and it's gotta be a lifestyle. I time block, I work, then we have a pool and we can go swimming instead of playing the snow, whatever that is, right? So to me, like, it's like everything I do is very calculated, but it's to create a lifestyle that I want to live, and it gives me utmost freedom essentially to travel, right? That's kind of why we do the things we do. So I think about six streams. I think I'm missing one. So we'll see what
we'll work on that with the idea that we talked about earlier before we started the show. So
sure.
No, that's amazing. So, like, you know what? I think you're just for fill everyone in. Like, we actually met Kevin and got to know Kevin really well on our trip to Belize, because we know a mutual friend that introduced us to purchasing like land and real estate in Belize, and it was the same idea, right? The same idea in terms of what we want to do with some of our funds. You've bought units and land, or a combination of that, and we've gone into what I like to call it land banking, right? So it's you're banking on potentially what's going to happen with the land. Where if you look around today, and you look 20 years ago, that spot where it was an empty field is not an empty field anymore, and they don't make more land. So that's just something that, like you said, it's a calculated investment for us in terms of what we think it's going to be. But those are some of those, I would say, some of the foresight you need as an investor as you kind of go through your journey to say, well, okay, what could I do? What could potentially be an outcome for this? So, it's kind of cool to kind of ride that journey with you on that part with Belize. So. All right, we're coming up to wrapping up here, and I got so much more to ask you, but I think we'll save that for round two. Another time. So, if you got one takeaway for people, and them walking you through your journey, and people are just trying to figure stuff out in terms of how to live their everyday rich, build an investment, build a business, or whatever it is, build an empire. What would you like to tell people?
I say, don't be afraid to ask questions. I mean, don't meet people, talk to people, show genuine curiosity in what they do, and just ask questions. If hey, Jason, man, I see you do all these projects after that. How'd you get started? Ask questions, right? So I think just having a curious mind is important. It allows you to grow and kind of expand your kind of knowledge in whatever field that you choose. When I joined the chamber back in the day, my goal wasn't to get business from the Chamber of Commerce. My goal is to actually just meet people, right? And I think business came from that. I met a gentleman who owned a bakery. Hey, nice to meet you. The next day I went to the bakery. Oh, it was pretty cool. You know what I mean? Hey, buy a couple of things. And then we started having a conversation. Oh, what do you do, Kev? I'm actually mortgage. It's cool, man. Cool. If you need anything, just let me know. You know what I mean? I've never been a pushy salesman. I just genuinely try to build trust first, and after that, I think the business comes. My advice is just to get started. It's another quote, one day or day one. It's very powerful. It's one day we do that, or it's today, day one. I want to meet 50 people this month, whatever it is, right? One exercise that I'm doing with all my agents is go to your contacts, scroll to the bottom. How many contacts are in your phone? I had the agent the other day. She's 300 clients or contacts. I'm awesome. You know what? I want to increase your business. If you get that number to 500 by July 1st, that's your challenge. Just meet people, add to your phone, meet more people, meet 200 new people, and naturally your business is going to increase, right? So, yeah, ask questions, meet new people, show genuine curiosity, and you're going to be okay in life. So,
that's amazing. I love it. We like to do something a bit different and have some fun right at the end. And
Sure.
I'm going to ask you some not so common questions because we've already touched on so many valuable things that I think hopefully people will take away from here. Like, all right. So, Kevin, because we have a lot in common in terms of some of our culture and upbringing and stuff like that, I call this the CRA, and that's not for tax. It's the CRA and EEAO segment. So it's the Crazy Rich Asians and the Everything Everywhere All at Once segment. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's rapid fire, but with those themes. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, I mean, when people watch this like 5 years from now, it's going to be dated to this time. Okay. All right. Vietnamese coffee or European espresso?
Vietnamese coffee.
Yes.
Heavy condensed milk.
Yay. I love Viet coffee.
Fireballs or fish balls?
No. Tough for me to turn down a fireball. Yeah. Oh man, that's
for everyone. Fireball is a drink. Okay, it's an alcoholic beverage.
Liquid cinnamon hearts.
Yeah.
Liquid fire, what I call it. Okay, I know you are avid athlete and really try to push the envelope with a lot of things. So, long distance biking or ultra marathons?
Ultra marathons. I've done 3 in my life, and I've learned so much about myself. The whole Goggins mentality of like I've bonked at 30K in a 50K race before, and walking 20K through like Flagstaff, Arizona in like 40-degree heat. It's just you get to a place with in your mind a very dark spot where you're like, okay, man, like if I can get through this, I can get through anything in life. So ultra marathons all day. Yeah.
Nice.
Asian Dave Goggins over here.
I know. Seriously. Stay hard, motherfucker.
Okay. Vietnamese pho or dim sum?
Oh, Vietnamese pho. My mom's Vietnamese pho. So like
yeah.
it's like so I haven't wandered out to like Markham and like where you guys are, but like this side of like where we are, this side of Mississauga, like man, like my mom's pho, like 48-hour broth with 3 types of bones. It's like, amazing. Like I've been trying to get her to open a restaurant for like 10 years now, and she won't do it. Right.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Okay. Dream golf foursome.
Yeah. Dream golf foursome.
Yeah.
Man, that's
doesn't have to be famous people, just whoever you would want to play golf with.
Yeah. Dream golf foursome would be Tiger Woods, one of my all-time favorite athletes. Tiger Woods. I would be kind of cool to golf, but Tiger Woods, Dave Goggins. Tiger Woods and Dave Goggins. I'd be cool to pick his brain. And 3 would probably be like Elon Musk. Cool.
Elon Musk. All right.
Elon. Okay. Yeah, Elon Musk. I think the conversations in that group would be interesting.
All right. Okay.
All right.
I don't think we'll be friends after, but it'd be interesting.
All right. Last question. If there was $100,000 in your lap, what would you do with it?
Yeah, right now, $100,000. Probably find out who it belonged to before I get arrested. But no, I would probably pay off. I'll probably pay off my parents' mortgage, or if there's any mortgage on it whatsoever. Yeah. Like to me, like it'd be something like for my parents. It'd be like either like buy me a new car, or like take one of the trip of a lifetime, or just support their kind of trip for the next 3 months and 4 months, 5 months in Vietnam, wherever it is. They've gone through so much, and going back to having kids, when you have kids, there's a new appreciation for your parents.
Kevin, thank you so much. Where can our viewers and people find you and connect with you?
Yeah, awesome, man. Yeah, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, empiremortgagegroup.ca.
Okay.
We have a team. You go to our website, meet the team. They're one of the best in the industry. So reach out. My thing is always, let's start the conversation. Let's get started, right? So if you're not planning on buying, but you just have questions and inquiries, let's start the conversation. It might go somewhere, it might not, but hey, let's try to educate the masses on what's real and what's not. There's a lot of scaring tactics out there and misconceptions. So yeah, just ask us anything. There's no such thing as a bad question.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's build your everyday rich and build your empire together. Get that? All right, before we end, if you've resonated with Kevin, if you picked up something or if you learned something that made you kind of go think like, holy crap, like everything Kevin said was like on point. I need to talk to him. Or you know what? Maybe something Jen or I said, you were just like, hey, I want to learn more about this kind of real estate or whatever, or who knows, right? Or I can introduce you to that heating element thing in the cup that my parents used. It's called.
I want to know what that is.
It's called a kettle now, by the way. But if you found it insightful, we don't ask you to do anything. Just one thing: pay the fee, which is like us, subscribe, share it with someone, so that we can continue these kind of conversations with you and your other friends and people that need to hear it. So that's all we ask. But
awesome, guys.
Awesome. Thank you very much,
guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me on. And yeah, I'll take any meeting if they're buying dim sum. So yeah.
Yeah, let's do dim sum soon.
All right, dim sum. All right, everyone. Yeah, peace. Thank you very much.
Take care, guys.
Peace.
Yeah.
Your Everyday Rich podcast is presented solely for general information, educational, and entertainment purposes. Any such information or other material should not be construed as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a qualified professional.